Look, I came down here to apologize for how things went. All right. Turns out you didn't dent my car.
Of course I did it. And if I did, I'm not responsible. Who dented the car?
My daughter.
Hey! What did she hit?
Fire hydrant.
Hey! Let me get this straight. So you come in here and accuse me that all this time the criminal is still in your own house. I should sue you for defamation of character.
Listen, I'm sorry you feel that way, man. That's why I'm here.
I don't want to hear it. You're like Sarah Palin, and I'm like Barack Obama. And your daughter, she's George Bush. Everything is her fault. But who they blame? Me, the black man.
Hey yo, what's up, This is Podrey, and I want you to watch something with me. You gonna like this. For real. Let's see, where is it at? Right here. I'm going to let it play out. Now I'm gonna mute my mic, and I'll come back at the end. Alright?
And welcome to my channel, thinkingoutloud, where we deep dive and break down the most iconic sites in history. If you're not yet subscribed, please be sure to do so and turn your notifications on so you never miss an upload. Now let's get into this video. Today we are talking about the icon Pam Grier. This video is a lot. It's pretty heavy. We're going to talk about some pretty heavy topics because she's been through a lot. Yes, we're going to talk about her very wild and chaotic relationship with Richard Pryor, where she discovered some things, okay? We're going to talk about her childhood, the industry, all of the things that she had to go through in the industry. But we are going to start on a lighter note to get some of this generation who may not be too familiar with who Pam Grier is familiar with her accomplishments, as well as her beauty secrets and hair hacks, because she was known as a fashion icon. And we're going to get into her childhood. So Pam Grier, the multi-talented American actress and singer, has had a long and illustrious career of achievements. Known for her groundbreaking work in the 1970s, she has received several accolades, including nominations for an Emmy Award, a Golden Globe Award, a Screen Actors Guild Award, a Satellite Award, and a Saturn Award. However, despite her undeniable talent and trailblazing efforts, she remains one of the best actors never to have received an Academy Award nomination. Grier is most recognized for her starring role in a string of films produced by American International Pictures and New World Pictures. These films include a mix of action, blaxploitation, and women in prison films that propelled her to worldwide fame. Throughout her career, Grier appeared in over 70 films and TV shows, proving her versatility as an actress in various genres. One of the reasons Grier was never able to win an Academy Award was because blaxploitation film stars weren't taken seriously by the establishment. Blaxploitation films were a unique genre that emerged in the 1970s, characterized by their low-budget approach, unpolished style, and soundtracks that combined funk, soul, and jazz. They typically featured African-American actors in leading roles and explored taboo topics such as substance use, violence, and racial inequality. And though they were low budget, they were really entertaining and grew in popularity even amongst white media. Even though they didn't take them seriously, many of them were watching, okay? And this is where Pulp Fiction came from, and Quentin Tarantino, who makes these type of movies now, was such a huge fan of Pam Grier. He was her biggest fan and even said that there was no one like her. She was the first female action star, period, of any color, and there was no one for her to be compared to. So even though you'll see a lot of articles that would, look down at blaxploitation films and the controversy of certain topics, it was very popular for its time, and a lot of people didn't want to give credit where credit was due. Because yeah, blaxploitation films were controversial, but they played a significant role in black cinema and culture. They challenged the status quo and gave black actors and filmmakers a platform to tell their own stories. Pam Grier was one of the pioneering figures of this movement and helped to redefine the portrayal of black women in cinema. Her impact and legacy legacy can still be felt in the film industry today. Pam Grier is a true icon of American cinema. She broke barriers and challenged stereotypes, carving out a place for herself in an industry that was not always welcoming to actors of color. And although she was never able to win an Academy Award, her contributions to cinema will never be forgotten. Her talent, courage, and unwavering commitment to her craft will continue to inspire future generations of actors and filmmakers for years to come. Now let's talk about this beauty icon's secrets. I always thought that Meg Thee Stallion looked like she could be her daughter, right? Meg looks so much like Pam, it's crazy, especially in this new era with the afro that Meg has been doing. Looks like it could be her little sister or her daughter. When I went to try to find side-by-side photos of them, because it was just like, oh my goodness, they look so much alike, I found that she did speak on Meg Thee Stallion, gave her some advice. She also liked to praise younger stars that are coming up, especially when Lizzo was getting a lot of hate. She was, speaking up for her. She said this. She said, I love Cardi and I love WAP. I love Meg Thee Stallion. I told her, you and your artistry are beautiful. People are gonna punk you because the stallion is a male horse. But there's some really foxy mares, end quote. And she said this because, as we're going to see in this video, Pam Grier did get a lot of flack for her height. She's pretty tall. We're going to see that. And so a lot of the men in the industry were intimidated by her. They had some jokes, some unsavory things to do, and they wouldn't give her work. So she went through it, and she was kind of giving Meg that, because Meg goes through that a lot with her body, some encouragement. Pam Grier is a legendary actress and fashion icon who has influenced generations of women with her unique style. She is best known for her bold and daring fashion choices, which have been a source of inspiration for many people. Pam Grier's fashion style is all about being bold and confident. She is not afraid to take risks and try new things, and she's always looking stunning no matter what she wears. Even now, her love for fashion began early in life, and since then she has become an expert in mixing different patterns, textures, and colors. Pam's style can be described as eclectic, funky, and sexy. She loves to wear long flowing dresses, oversized hats, and vibrant prints. She is also known for her trademark afro and her love of bold jewelry such as large hoop earrings and chunkly necklaces. And as far as her hair, which, let's be serious, her hair is gorgeous. One of Pam Grier's signature features is her gorgeous hair. She is known for her iconic afro, which she has worn in various styles throughout her career, which she says, hey, just grow it out and pick it out if you want it to be voluminous and big and rock your natural curls. Pam's beauty tips are all about keeping things natural. She loves to use natural products and is a big fan of coconut oil for her skin and hair. Pam also believes that drinking plenty of water and eating a healthy diet is what helped her to achieve her beautiful complexion. Now, as far as her hobbies, favorite colors, Pam Grier is a woman of many talents and interests, but aside from acting and fashion, she is also an avid reader and writer. Her favorite colors are vibrant shades of reds, yellows, and oranges, which reflects her vibrant personality. When it comes to her beauty, Pam's natural glow is something to admire. Her unique features and effortless confidence makes her a true beauty icon. Pam Grier's personality can be summed up in one word: confident. She exudes confidence and self-assurance in everything she does, which makes her a true role model for women all over the world. Her friends have described her as being warm, funny, and caring. She is someone who is always there for her loved ones, and she has a heart of gold. But when it comes to her health and diet, she did face some setbacks. In 1988, Grier received a life-changing diagnosis of stage 4 cancer. Despite living a healthy lifestyle, running 6 miles a day, and being a self-described health nut, she was diagnosed with cancer. Following her cancer diagnosis, Grier was faced with a difficult decision. She could either give up or she could fight. Fortunately, she chose the latter. She began to focus even more on her health and wellness, making significant changes to her diet and exercise routine. Grier's diet is primarily plant-based, with a focus on fresh fruits and vegetables, whole grains, and lean protein sources. She also includes healthy fats such as avocado and extra virgin olive oil in her diet. Her favorite food is quinoa, which she finds to be very versatile, and she also likes Brussels sprouts, etc. In addition to her healthy eating habits, Grier also made changes to her fitness routine. She started practicing yoga, which she found to be very helpful in managing the stress and anxiety that comes with a cancer diagnosis. She's also continued to run and exercise regularly, but in a more mindful way. Grier's experience with cancer taught her the importance of taking care of herself. She became more aware of the toxins in her environment and made changes to reduce her exposure. She also recommends regular cancer screening and encourages others to take their health seriously. seriously. Now, as far as her childhood, Pam Grier's childhood was marked by frequent moves due to her father's military career, causing her to attend various schools throughout the United States and in England. She was born in May 26, 1949 in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and comes from a diverse mix of African American, Hispanic, Chinese, Filipino, and Cheyenne heritage. Pam's mother was a nurse and a homemaker, while her father worked as a mechanic and technical sergeant in the United States Air Force. Despite growing up in a time of intense racial tension, Pam and her family were able to avoid much of the segregation and racism that was a daily experience for many Black Americans. When the family lived in England, they were one of the few Black families in their town, but they faced no overt inequality compared to what Pam's family experienced when they returned to the United States. However, as Pam reflects on her childhood, she still knows of the harsh inequalities against Black Americans that existed in the U.S. at the time. She remembers how they were unable to obtain bus services, eat at certain restaurants, or use certain restrooms. Her family was even barred from trying on clothing at some department stores until 1969. I was very quiet, Ms. Grier recalled her childhood, and she stuttered when she did talk, and we're going to see why later. Growing up, Grier was a good student who dreamed of becoming a doctor, saying, "When I was a younger girl, I never thought of acting," she remembers. "I never thought of television, of fans, movie stars, signing autographs, and never crossed my mind," end quote. Now, here's where, trigger warning, we're going to talk about being touched without your consent, okay? So you can kind of skip ahead. Hopefully YouTube already puts the chapters, all right? So Pam Grier is a legendary actress known as the queen of Blaxploitation films. However, behind the scenes, she struggled with a debilitating stutter that lasted for years. In her memoir, Foxy, My Life in 3 Acts, Grier finally revealed why. Grier shared that she was sensually taken advantage of at the young age of 6 by 2 boys in her neighborhood. This experience and a similar one at age 18 caused her to experience chronic stuttering, which lasted into her adulthood. According to Deadline, it nearly happened a 3rd time. She didn't include that situation in her book because her publisher felt it was too much. She said, "When I fought off a 300-pound retired football player, a family friend who was supposed to come out to mentor me, I suffered scratches, abrasions, everything, but I beat the ish out of him with furniture and walked away from it," end quote. Grier stated that all of this stuff happening to her left her feeling powerless and violated, leading to a loss of confidence and self-esteem. Grier downplayed her appearance after the violations in the false belief that she would be less likely to be attacked if she weren't so pretty, basically. Let me look as ugly as possible so that maybe this could deter the attackers. Grier disclosed the brutality she had experienced for the first time. Her confession, however, was not warmly received. Her then boyfriend found out and declared Grier tainted after she told him. Imagine your boyfriend, you tell them what happened to you and they tell, "Ooh, now you tainted, you've been touched." It is heart-wrenching to learn that Grier carried this trauma with her for so long without speaking out. It is a stark reminder of how much silence can hurt us by even making people stutter. It can manifest, Silence can manifest in other ways. So sometimes when you see someone stuttering, you don't know what they could have went through. Not saying that's the case for everyone, but a lot of people, it does come from trauma. She is a true inspiration to many for sharing her story in the hopes of helping others. Despite these challenges, Grier has said that her upbringing taught her to be independent and self-reliant. Her family remembers her as a creative and curious child who was always exploring and learning. Pam Grier persevered and participated in beauty contests to fund her college education. She was crowned Miss Colorado in 1967 and went on to compete in the Miss Universe and Miss World's pageant. Her family has spoken highly of her as a child, with her father in particular being very proud of her success in beauty contests. Now let's get into her career. Pam Grier is a trailblazing actress who broke barriers as an African-American woman in Hollywood. She started her career in the film industry as a switchboard operator at American International Pictures in Los Angeles in 1967. But it was her run of iconic roles in Roger Corman Women in Prison films, such as The Big Dollhouse, which was one of my favorite, Women in Cages, and A Big Bird Cage, that catapulted her to fame. Grier's talent was quickly recognized by director Jack Hill, who gave her her first starring role in the 1971 film Coffee, which was another amazing one. Grier's role as a vigilante nurse seeking revenge for her sister made her the first African-American female to headline an action film. This was a groundbreaking achievement at a time when Black women in Hollywood were often relegated to playing subservient roles to white men. Despite Despite her talent and success, however, Grier faced many difficulties and obstacles in the industry. She had to overcome, the racial side of it and discrimination to reach her goals as far as being a woman. The odds were all against her. In an interview with The Guardian, Grier spoke about how she was once told that she was too dark to play a Bond girl when she wanted to be a Bond girl. Yikes. She also spoke about not getting work because of her physique, her height, as we're stating with the Meg Thee Stallion. She said, and I quote, "I'm taller than everybody in Hollywood. No one eats. They're small and skinny. I'm a tall, big bones sister. Sometimes I won't get work because I'm too tall for the leading man. I was going to play Tina Turner, and what's love got to do with it? Tina's 5'1", I'm 5'8". Put on shoes, I'm 6'2". Who's going to play Ike? Lawrence Fishburne," I said. I'm taller than him. I saw his one-man play in New York. He's not going to be able to throw my big ass across the room," end quote. But, I love Miss Angela Bassett. That role was for her, for Tina. Okay, girl? And she continues saying, I had to bump heads with a lot of men in the industry. Grier says, they were not comfortable with showing a progressive black female in an action role. As a strong woman, I was seen as a threat. There was a fear that women would mimic me in real life. I remember certain people saying, "Oh, she's taking our jobs. She's castrating men." As far as I was concerned, I thought, we don't need to walk behind you. We should walk besides you, end quote. But despite the obstacles she faced, Grier persevered and blazed a path for other black actresses to follow. In his review of Coffee, critic Roger Ebert praised Grier for her physicality and realistic portrayal of her character. He noted that she possessed a physical life missing from many other attractive actresses, end quote. And I have to say, I agree. Now, let's get into her relationships, because this is where it gets toxic. So Pam Grier's relationship with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was not entirely smooth sailing. They met before he became a Muslim and started dating. However, after he converted to Islam and changed his name, it seemed like there were differences in their beliefs. Kareem proposed to Pam, but with a condition that she must convert to Islam as well. When Pam refused, Kareem gave her an ultimatum saying that he was going to marry a converted Muslim woman who was already prepared for him. Once you become Muslim, you might appreciate another wife, he added. Pam, who wasn't comfortable with Kareem's demands, declined his proposal and their relationship ended. Kareem got married to a Muslim woman the same day. Can y'all believe that? According to Pam, Kareem's decisions to call off the wedding was because he wanted to be with someone who shared his religious beliefs. In Pam's words, and I quote, "I couldn't make him happy," end quote. She went on to write about him in her book stating, and I quote, "One day I waited for my boyfriend Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in his Malibu home. He was returning from several road games and he was now a Muslim. When he came through the doors with his friends, they had also converted. I ran up to hug him. He moved back as if I had bad breath or contagious skin disease. 'Nice to see you, Pam,' he said, and that was it. Now that they had converted, they could speak to me, but there was no touching allowed, no intimate or personal conversations. In fact, I wasn't supposed to speak to them at all, unless I was answering specific questions. I stood there awkwardly when Kareem said in a quiet voice, 'You're supposed to leave the room now, Pam.' I walked out of the room feeling upset and humiliated." Pam said Kareem ended up getting pissed off with her. And she said, "Suddenly Kareem was standing at the door to the bedroom grinning, 'Can you make us some sandwiches?' After I made the sandwiches, he said, 'You have to go now. You can take your sandwich with you.' I left and walked towards Malibu Beach. I changed into a halter top and cutoffs. One of Kareem's friends saw me and called him. Kareem was irate when I got back home, and he read me the riot act about disgracing him on the beach. He said, 'You have to be covered, arms, legs, and head. Only your hands can be seen.' Needless to say, our relationship didn't last much longer after this incident," end quote. After their breakup, the two remained cordial and didn't have any bad blood between them. They respected each other's decisions and moved on with their lives. And in her book, Pam wrote that Kareem was a good man and that she held no grudges against him. They just didn't agree about some stuff. While promoting her 1973 film Coffee, Grier crossed paths with actor and comedian Freddie Prinze. They started dating and spoke about getting married, but due to Prince's history of, sadness, depression, and substance use, she was hesitant to have a child with him. After she broke up with him, they still talked, and unfortunately, he ended up taking his own life And, you know, very tragic. And she was one of the last individuals that he spoke to. Now let's get into Richard Pryor. Pam Grier and Richard Pryor's relationship was toxic and turbulent, to say the least. They were introduced to Pam's ex-boyfriend, Freddie Prinze, but it wasn't until they both starred in the movie Grease Lightning that they started dating. Despite Pam's best efforts to help Richard with his substance addiction, their relationship was plagued with substance use. Pam even admitted that her sensual relationship with Pryor caused Coca-Cola to enter her system, which resulted in medical diagnosis that shocked her to the core. One of the most shocking instances occurred in 1980 when Pryor poured 151 proof rum on himself and set himself on fire following a Coca-Cola binge. This event made headlines and was just one of the many dangerous incidents during his life. Their relationship came to an end, and after Pam visited her doctor and discovered a medical condition caused by a buildup of Coca-Cola residue in her cervix and, you know, areas, her womanly parts, her doctor asked if Pryor had dipped his parts in Coca-Cola before their sensual encounter, which raised more red flags for the concerned actress. She refuted that claim to her doctor. She's saying, "Not that I know of. It's not like he has a pile of Coca-Cola next to the bed and he dips his, thing in it before we do it," she told the medic. The doctor said, according to her memoir, "We have a serious problem here. If he's not putting it on his skin directly, then it's worse because the Coca-Cola is in his seminal fluid." The doctor then wondered if her mouth ever went numb while using it on him, for pleasure, whatever. YouTube, guys, YouTube. It's clear that their relationship was one that was rife with dysfunction and anger, and in the end, Pam Grier had to prioritize her own health and well-being, ultimately leading to their breakup. Grier's exes have included legendary boxing promoter Jimmy Big Will Wheeler, Soul Train announcer Don Cornelius, and NBA great Wilt Chamberlain. Grier became engaged to RCA Records executive Kevin Evans in 1998, but the couple split up the following year. And she doesn't have kids, and she's never been married. He said her life was way too busy, way too wild for her to even bring a child into this world. Pam continues to act in films while also fighting stigmas surrounding those living with HIV/AIDS. She has had not one but 2 honorary doctorates, and in 2011 she was awarded a Doctor of Humane Letters as an honorary degree from the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. That same year, Langston University awarded her with a Doctor of Science in honor. And she is just minding her business in her ranch, living her quiet country life, okay? Very happy and at peace. And she is in the works of making a biopic for her movie, and I think Meg should play her. I really think so. But she is working on that. I don't know if it's been casted, but I'm excited to see a biopic on her life because she lived a life and people don't give her credit for being the first woman, female, despite color, action film stars, where she did a lot of stunts, oftentimes without a bra on. These directors were a lot. And yeah, there's been some controversy, some think pieces of people, especially in that era with Blaxploitation, because the themes were pretty harsh. There was even race play in one of her films, and a lot of people found it degrading, etc. But then there's the arguments that it was actually empowering because it was showing the woman being sensual but still boss-like and independent, and what we honor today, right? So it's a mix. Comment below what you think, and if you're into Blaxploitation films, which ones are your favorite? Which was your favorite Pam Grier movies? I love Coffee and I love Friday Foster. That was one of my first films I ever seen when I was a kid of her.
So I was born in the mid-70s, and there was a lot of change happening. For one, hip-hop was just now starting. Hip-hop started a few years before I was born. Alright, so that was something very new to the world, and people really didn't know just how powerful it was going to be. But when it comes down to melanated actors having the main roles in movies, of course we had to watch black exploitation movies. But even at that time, they were not as popular, and they were getting ran out of business. There used to be all kind of there used to be a lot of movie theaters that was owned by melanated people, and so you can just walk up and down the street and run into these theaters. But it depends on what city you lived in. Alright? So watching that generation fade away was very upsetting. You know, but as a kid, it's one of those things where I noticed it and I just didn't know what type of impact it was having on my culture. So, you know, of course, I was all about, you know, being a kid, playing with toys, going outside, hanging around with friends and things like that. So, when I did watch TV and when I did watch movies, you know, Cicely Tyson and of course Pam Grier and Ruby Dee, you know, a few other actresses had really been on the TV. You know, it's like Eartha Kitt, she's still way before my time. Eartha Kitt was the first melanated Catwoman. She was so light-skinned that she could cross over. Josephine Baker, you know, she got her career overseas, even though she started here. In the 60s, you had Melvin Van Peebles, you had Ozzie Davis, and you had Gordon Parks, who would directing films, producing films, and I would say especially Gordon Parks and Melvin Van Peebles, they had to go overseas, I think France, to get their director's license. And if I remember correctly from a documentary that I watched, and the only way that you can get your license was being able to speak French, and I think there were like one or two other stipulations. I think you had to speak French and write in French. It was something like that, but it wasn't hard like it is or like it was here. Over here in the United States, they didn't want to give melanated people directors licenses, producers licenses, and things like that. They wanted us to always play like on Tarzan films. They always wanted us to get into, you know, our skivvies and run around talking about a booga 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 booga. You know, even the cartoons, you know, back then, you could see how they'd be like, you know, way deep in Africa, you know, you got all these pygmies and big-lipped and long-necked and long-footed. I mean, they did us bad, and they're still doing us bad. But watching that film right there, you know, it's like there used to be a standard for melanated women, and not everyone followed that standard, but there were a lot of women that was either militant or they were they were all about their education. And then you have females, of course, that allow themselves to get pimped. There's females that, you know, allow themselves to fall off and be, you know, trash ass people. So, and you had your athletes. You know, it is a big difference So when it comes down to watching that film with Pam Grier and listening to, you know, what she had gone through and things like that, you have to really do some research on how life was in the 70s. And for melanated people. And you'll be able to get an understanding of what she went through as an actress in order to be as popular as she was. You know, not everybody slept with the directors or the producers to get where they, you know, to be a popular actress. But with any career, that's usually how it has been for women. This young lady here, she's the one who did the video. When I looked on her channel, I subbed for one, and I don't do a lot of celebrity news. You know, as far as gossip goes, but I do like biographies, and I do like, you know, background history on celebrities, and she has a lot of celebrities that I would like to really check out. I remember getting the Jet magazine, and you know, they had the Beauty of the Week, and I'd love to sit back and check those out. You know, when I got old enough, I was able to make me a collection, and I was an artist. I drew, so I would draw the Beauty of the Week. It's kind of like I would start off with part of their body, and then I would finish it off. My pictures would have them all glammed up, you know, so it's like it wouldn't be the same outfit. I would, you know, draw a different outfit on them. But anyway, it's like this video here. This men court you for years just to sleep with you, taking care of broke men and the crazy scorned woman. That right there is going to be an interesting video. You know what I'm saying? It's like Jill Scott. There's a lot of things about Jill Scott. Here's the big picture. The reason why I like this channel is because I'll be able to get some information that, you know, I might not have heard before when it comes down to celebrities. We used to have this TV show called Unsung, and you know, they would dig into the life of the celebrities, musicians, you know, movie stars and things like that, and be like, you know, tell you what happened to them, what happened to their career, whether it was good or bad. But check out this channel. I'll leave her name in the description down below. But for real, I wanted you to check out that video with me because, you know, Pam Grier, you know, I can't put her on that pedestal because, you know, not all news is factual news. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to do your own research. But old girl Corinne, she did a good job on that video. I had watched a few episodes, a few documentaries on Pam Grier, and I had heard some of the things that she had said, but she had also said a lot of things that I hadn't heard, so that's why, of course, I liked the information that she gave. But anyway, it's like, for me to end this video, it's like looking at this generation of people, of melanated people. It gets confusing to see, and it gets upsetting to wonder about the next generation and who's going to be our next senators, who's going to represent us. You know what I mean? It's kind of like Condoleezza Rice. You know what I'm saying? She was both her parents were melanated, but you know what I'm saying, she didn't do right by us as far as being a role model. And then, you know, Barack Obama and old girl that's in office, Vice President right now, she's not, both her parents are not melanated either. So, I mean, anyway, she's not fully melanated either. So it's kind of like, you know, who's gonna be in the next generation to represent us, and it worries me. But we all need role models, and I wish we had more people putting out information on melanated folks who had done well, and you know, who still reach out to our young people today to help them out. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. Like I said, I'm gonna leave her channel in the description below. Check out some of those other celebs that she was talking about, or that she did videos on. And you know, other than that, won't you have a good day, won't you have a good night, won't you have a good morning. Peace.